Hello everyone, I'm Irina Olevska, and we start our ArtLaw.club meetings in a new format of remote talks. Due to the current situation, most of us have to stay at home, work at home, learn at home, and also talk at home. Of course, it's a new life experience, new round, and hope it's going to be even more advantageous for all of us at the end of the day. Anyway, let me now introduce our today's speaker, Maria. Maria is a regular author, management consultant, Latvian trademark and patent attorney, European patent and design attorney, as well as mediator in civil and commercial disputes. Recently, Maria has also been elected as a mediator in the newly established Court of Arbitration for Art and one of the WIPO Arbitration Mediation Center. Maria, thanks for joining me today.
Hi Irina, thanks for having me.
Subject of our short talk of today will be online sale of art. Maria, you have recently written a couple of articles on the matter for ArtLaw.club. Can you briefly summarize what we were talking about there?
Sure. In those two articles, I wanted to provide a general overview of the art sales online, but also to explain the difference between the existing models. I largely talked about, on one hand, online marketplaces, and on the other, online auctions. Well, of course, there are also direct sales from the galleries online and from artists themselves. But that's pretty straightforward sales relationship between buyer and seller. In case of online marketplaces and auctions, there's the third party coming into play. Or in fact, as I also write, this third party most of the time is a communication facilitator, but in no way a party to the actual sale, unless it is a real auction house. And this is exactly why I wanted to make this write-up on different forms, as there might be quite some confusion. Something that's called an online auction house is not necessarily an auction house like we legally understand it, meaning selling on consignment.
Yes, that all might sound very confusing indeed. For the viewers, in the description to this video, you will find links to articles published at ArtLaw.club on the matter. So, moving on. Recently, Art Basel introduced the viewing rooms, which were the way to address the fact that Art Basel Hong Kong was forced to close this year. Do you think that this is the temporary solution, or the trend of moving into the online environment will continue when the health emergency is over?
There are a couple of things here. Generally speaking, the trend of moving online, the emerging of the new generation of collectors who are digital savvy or even digital natives, and just driven by pure convenience considerations, all this is here to stay. When I was checking the Art Basel viewing rooms on the second day of its opening, a lot of artworks already had a tag sold, which indicates that collectors are generally open to this type of art buying. Besides, online equals more inclusion, and most of the time, not always of course, but mostly, democratization of the art market, which seems like the way to go. On the 3rd of April, ArtNet came out with an article that Sotheby's design auction brought in a surprising total of $4 million, exceeding its estimate by more than 25%. That's after it was converted from a live sale into an online sale. And this is yet another indication that such format seems to be acceptable for collectors. On the other hand, can online substitute real-life art viewings, real-life conversations and meetings? I hope not, at least not entirely. But then again, we're having this conversation with you now, which is great. And another thing, this is something I mentioned also in one of the articles. Instagram is actually used by a huge percentage of collectors willing to buy art. That means that also meaningful encounters, connections, and perhaps also meaningful conversations can actually happen successfully in the virtual online environment.
Talking about dispute resolution, as a mediator, do you see it possible to work online?
Personally, I don't find it ideal, because with video conferencing you inevitably miss out some of the body language. But it's definitely possible to work around it, and there are tools and methods to do this efficiently. Also, WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, their Alternative Dispute Resolution Center, already for a while provides video conferencing facilities. So it's totally possible. On top of that, it actually saves a lot of time and a lot of travel expenses for the parties. Thus, I believe, let's call it online dispute resolution, will be used more and more in the future.
Coming back to art and online, You mentioned that there is the difference in legal consequences for the online-only auction and online participation in the real-time auctions. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Yes, there is. This is mainly from the consumer rights perspective. In case of online-only auction, a consumer from the European Union can, in most of the cases, use the 14 days withdrawal period, as this would then be regarded as a distance agreement, covered by the European Union Consumers' Rights Directive. There was in fact a question submitted to the European Parliament, to which it officially replied that since in online auctions the consumer is at disadvantage, as there is no way to physically inspect what's being bought, this needs to be rectified by having the right of withdrawal. It is all logical, however, one cannot also forget that auction plays on human emotions, and there's such thing as buyer's remorse. In case the purchase was made at distance agreement, the consumer can thus have a second thought, while in online bidding at a real live broadcasted auction, not. In my opinion, this provision is somewhat illogical, but the Parliament explicitly excluded public auctions and once again explicitly provided that the right of withdrawal is applicable for online-only auctions.
That's interesting. And one more question. Did you already buy art online yourself?
No, in fact I haven't, but I'm totally open to doing so. Just I haven't found a piece that really clicks yet. However, I regularly visit online exhibitions and I'm closely following some of the artists and interacting with them. Does this qualify as establishing relationships in the online environment? Well, I guess so. But then again, I'm a millennial, not a Gen Zer. So for me, online is still an add-on to the real life. I do believe that for the subsequent generation it will be different, and online might become actually the primary way.
Thank you for this talk. It was a real pleasure to hear a fresh opinion on a trend or movement we all are in now.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Yet I do hope that very soon we will talk about art over the real cup of coffee.
I hope so too. Today I talked with Maria Boicova Wynants, consultant, writer, patent and trademark attorney and a mediator. I hope you liked our short distance talk, and if so, please like this video and share it with your colleagues and friends. As mentioned, I will also include links to Maria's articles on sale of art in the online environment in the description to this video. Thank you very much for being with us today, and see you soon!